Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will share with you the recipe for a very nice bag with a star model that I prepared with spaghetti yarn paper thread. Such a mini bag. I have seen and saved this model on Pinterest a lot. I am sure that even those who are starting to knit for the first time can do this very easily. I have never used lining on any part of it. You can do it with lining if you want. Look, there is a snap like this at the mouth. Your phone, keys, etc., a small wallet, etc., will fit very easily in it. It's not an extremely small bag either. It looks amazing when worn. Look, we will knit 2 motifs on the other side in the same way. We will complete our bag by combining these 2 round and star-shaped motifs and sewing them onto our handles. You will see all the details step by step in the video. I tried to share it with you. I hope that will be useful. Before moving on to our detailed recipe, I would like to make a small request from you. You can subscribe to our channel for free. I would be really happy if you like the video and leave your comments. Let's move on to our recipe. I used a ball of spaghetti butter paper thread for my bag. I want to share the feature of the rope with you right away. Mixed 100% paper weight in the range of 130-150 grams, 250 meters long. I can say that it is the softest paper yarn I have ever knitted. If you are someone who works with paper all the time, I definitely recommend you to meet Spaghetti Bee's paper string. By the way, I would like to share a nice discount news for my subscribers' special spaghetti. You can complete your shopping with a 10% discount with the 10 codes you will find that you can use for your purchases of 300 TL or more from spaghettiplace.com. I would like to thank the Spaghetti Yarn family for this nice discount. Here I knitted and prepared the first piece of my bag. The color I used is natural. I'll add the link to the color in the description section below. You can access it by clicking there. Spaghetti yarn paper yarn has many different color options. You can also look at different color options. Look now, I'm getting my rope. I want to show you its texture closely. When working with paper thread, my crochet number will be 3 waist. You can determine your own crochet number according to the thinness and thickness of your own yarn and the tightness and looseness of your knitting. We first start with the magic ring, if there are any of us who are new. I have previously shared a detailed video on how to make a magic ring. I will add the link to the description of our video. You can reach it by clicking there. We created our magic ring in this way. While creating the magic ring, we pull 1 chain. Now we complete this chain into 3. 2, we fill the beginning of our 3rd crochet and we make a loop by sinking into our ring. We have 3 stitches because we wrapped them. We first fill the first 2 stitches by wrapping them around the beginning of our hook. We knit the remaining 2 stitches and knit a double handrail. We will accept a handrail in the first 3 chains. We are filling up. We prepare a double handrail again by sinking into the ring. Now we are preparing a total of 16 double handrails, including the first chain and 3 chains. Now look, we have prepared 16 handrails for the first row, including the chain at the beginning. Now we will pull the rope that is shorter than the magic ring to the point where we can pull it in a controlled manner. I turn it on its back like this. We will do this in a controlled manner. If you pull it suddenly, your paper string may break. It is also worth mentioning this. Now I've pulled it as far as I can. Look, I tidied up the middle part. Now see here, we are not sinking to the point where the chain is. I sink into the headspace of the first handrail. I take the short yarn on my hook so that I can knit it by hiding it. I removed the stitch from this point and slipped it through my other stitch. Now this offset point forms the headspace of the chain. Now, after sinking to this sliding point, I'm sinking into the back wing of the first handrail. Look, we were sinking at the top for nothing. Now I'm sinking into 1 wing. I remove the loop and shift from here once more. I chain 1, 2, 3, 4 and wrap it around the beginning of the hook. Now look at the outer wing of the first handrail that comes after this chain, that is, the same one. I sink into the gap again, remove the stitch and knit a double handrail. The 4 chains we drew at the beginning, the first 3 chains are 1 handrail and the 4th chain is a 1 chain gap in between. We created our first triangle. We fill the head of our crochet hook and look at the top of the handrail. It looks like a spike. We sink to that outer wing first, rather than directly to the top. Look, we sink into the outer wing and hide the short thread by holding it on the crochet hook. 1 double banister here. I'm stuffing it into my crochet hook. Immediately sink into the outer single wing of another handrail and add another double handrail here. There is a chain in between. I'm filling up. I come to the same gap and knit another handrail again. Look, we started with a triangle. We have 1 chain between the triangle. We created this with 4 chains. We knit one handrail, another handrail, and two handrails on the next handrail. There is a chain between the two banisters. In other words, we will proceed in the form of a triangular handrail, a triangular handrail. Let's do it one more time. Look, I'm sinking into the single outer wing. After the triangle, I knit a double handrail. I fill the next space. In another space, I prepare a triangle. How do we do this? I use one handrail and a chain from time to time. I come to the same space again and move forward with a handrail. We are creating our triangle. Look, let's complete our row as we have described. We have come to the end of our row. Look, we have completed our point with the triangle. We have one last space left. Our shifting space is our space. We said this creates the top space on the chain. Now we sink into the outer single wing of this shifting point and knit a double handrail here. And we are coming, look, a point of 4 chains welcomes us. So we started with a triangular banister triangle. So since we started with a triangle, we finished with a banister. Now look directly. I sink into the gap of 4 chains, remove the loop and shift. From this point, I go up with 1, 2, 3 chains. I wrap it around the head of my hook and come to the same space and knit a double handrail. And at this point, 2 chains. I'm pulling, I'm wrapped. I come to the same space and knit 2 clay handrails. 1 in the same space, second handrail. Now look inside the triangle. We accept a handrail in the chain. We have knitted 2 handrails, 2 chains, 2 handrails. We filled the triangle like this. Now, by the way, let's not confuse the handrail of the triangle. We have a single handrail that we knit between 2 triangles. First, look at this single handrail. We will first sink to the left of the single handrail. We will sink to the far left part and then to the right part. What are we going to do? Look, there are no chains, etc. We fill directly. Here, we first sink into the left wide gap of the single railing. Between the triangle and the single railing, look, we are sinking into the gap on the left and knitting a single railing. We fill directly. Then we sink into the right gap. Look, we dipped into the right gap of the single standing handrail, made a loop, and look, we dipped backwards and knitted our handrail. We get a diagonal weave like this. We got around. Then the triangle greets us. In other words, 2 double handrails come to this point, coming to a 1 chain space and a 1 chain space between 2 handrails. 2 chains in between. We are filling up. We knit 2 double handrails in the same space, 1 and 2. We got around. Now we filled in the triangle. Look, 2 handrails, 2 chains, 2 handrails. Now we will do the following operation. I'm filling up. The only thing standing in between is the banister. First, look, I sink into the wide gap on the left between the triangle on the left and the single railing and fill it with a single railing. Now I'm going backwards and sinking into the space to the right. Look, I sink into this gap and knit the banister again. I fill in the space of 1 chain, then the triangle greets me immediately. 2 handrails, 2 chains. We knit 2 handrail points in the same space. Let's show it like this. Now we complete our row like this. We have come to the end of our row. By the way, we had 1 handrail. We knitted the triangle point. We immediately put the single handrail, first in the left space, in the wide space. After a handrail, we go backwards and weave a handrail into the space on the right, thus obtaining our cross braid. Now look, I'm not touching the chain point here. I come to the top of the first railing. I take off the loop and make my slip. This shift gives me the headroom of the chain. I come, sink into the gap of 2 chains again, take out the loop and slide. We start our knitting directly from the 2 chain space of the triangle. Now we will go up with 1, 2, 3 chains, and now we will increase the number of the 2 handrails we have knitted here to 3. I knit 2 handrails in the same space after the chain. With 3 chains, we knit 3 handrail groups. Again, there are 2 chains in between. I'm filling up. I come to the same space and make 2 apologies again. We knit 3 double handrail groups. Look, we have filled the triangle with 3 handrails, 2 chains, and 3 handrails. Now look, there were 2 handrails that we knitted. We had 2 handrails that we knitted diagonally, first forward and then backward. We will use first the left and then the right wide space of this point each time. Look, we will always use these points every time. This part will always proceed like this. We make increases from within these triangles. At this point, there is no increase. We fill it directly. We knitted this single handrail that we knit diagonally. We knitted 2 handrails. See, first I sink into the left wide gap. I fill a handrail. Then I go backwards, sink into the right wide gap, and knit my handrail. See the diagonal knitting point here. I fill it, then 2 chains. I come to the gap and knit 3 double handrail groups again. I draw 2 chains again into the 2 chain gap and knit 3 handrail groups in the same gap. Then look, our diagonal point comes and I fill it directly. I have knitted the second banister. Now we complete this row like this. Look, we've reached the end of our turn. After making the last cross braid, the point of 3 chains welcomes us. Now we don't touch the chain here again. We sink to the top of the first railing, take out the loop and make a scroll. I repeat, look, the shift here gives us the headspace of the 3 chains. Immediately sink to the top of another banister and slide again. Then we come to the space of 2 chains and remove the loop and shift. Look, we start from within the triangle every time so that we can get such a beautiful image. Now we're going up here with 3 chains. Now we have the last 2 rows left to knit with this handrail. After this row, we will pass with a single crochet last. I fill the space. Now I knit 4 handrails with this chain. We accept 1 handrail in 3 chains. Look, the second handrail and the third handrail, together with the chain, I have 4 handrails. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, since this is the last row, I draw a chain in the meantime, wrapping it around the beginning of the hook. I come to the gap and knit 4 double handrails. 1, 2, 3. Look, we only made the increases inside these triangles. Here we repeat the diagonal braid exactly the same way. A very easy example. Look, I'm filling up. We immediately sink into the wide left gap of our 2 diagonal handrails and knit our handrail. We wrap it around, go backwards, sink into the wide right gap and knit our banister again. Look, these cross railings continue on top of each other in the same column shape. We just make the increases inside the triangle. We fill directly. There are no chains these days. Come to the space of 2 chains and repeat 4 double handrails. 2, 3, and 4. Since it is the last row, it is a chain. We come to the same space and knit 4 double handrail groups again. 2, 3, and 4. Now look, we complete our sequence as we described by doing the same process in this stud, in the same intervals. Look, we have come to the end of our turn. After making the last cross point, we sink the 3 chains into the headspace of the first handrail without touching them and slide them first. We said that this shifting point creates the headspace of the chain. We will sink to this point eventually. We make a chain like this, sink into the same space and knit a single needle again. Now we are in the frequent needle sequence. Another single needle in trabzon, single needle in another trabzon, single needle in trabzon. Now we had a chain gap here. At this point we will knit 2 single needles, a second single needle in the same space. Then we have 4 trabzons, 4 trabzon, directly dip in each of them and look. We knit single needles, we knit 1 single needle on each of them. Then look at this cross point. There are 2 handrails. We do not skip the banisters here by sinking 1 into each of them. We proceed by knitting single needles by inserting 1 needle into each banister. Now we will continue like this until the end of the row. When we see 2 chains, we will make 2 handrails. I will share the end of the queue with you right here. We have come to the end of our turn. The last single crochet we will knit is the top of the 3 chain point. Now I'm sinking right in the middle of this scrolling part here. I'm sinking right in the middle of where we're scrolling. Then, in the 3rd chain, I sink into it, remove the stitch from here, and knit my last single crochet. In the other one, I knitted the last single crochet and hid my yarn at the back. I broke my thread while knitting this first piece. Look, then I want to steam iron it from the wrong side. Before I put it together at this point, I will iron this second piece in reverse. I will steam it strongly. I ironed it. Now here I cut the rope in the first one and tied it, but I didn't do the second one like that. Now look at the end points. I want the edge to coincide with the same edge part. I hold it like this and look from here. I will start assembling it. We will continue by combining it. After leaving enough of the mouth part of our bag, we will sew the snaps on the mouth part at this stage. If you want to sew a lining for your bag, you can draw 2 layers of fabric on your fabric, leaving a seam allowance. Draw this piece in the same way and cut your fabric. You can do it like this when sewing the lining, but you can use it very easily without lining. As long as you don't put small pieces in it, you can use it with a small bag or wallet. I want to start assembling it right away. As I said, from the reverse side, this sewing part, this point, this part will be the same. Look, I'm holding it like this. We haven't broken our thread here. Click what I'm doing. Look, the stitch is waiting here. First, I hook the stitch. I keep it this way. Now, since the numbers are equal, the numbers of single crochets are equal, so look at it from this side. Which part of here did we stay in? Here we are at the top of the first handrail. Look, we knitted single crochet here. I didn't pull any chains or anything like that. Now at this point, the rope will come from the bottom part like this. Now look, we are at the first needle of trabzon here in this triangle. Look, I'm pricking the outer wing of the needle. I sink into its inner wing. Look, the stitch is waiting here. Then look at the other part. Look at the last needle of trabzon in this part. I'm sinking into its outer wing. 2 points remain inside. I pass the rope through these points and the descending loop through these points. And I slide it from my waiting stitch. After I slide it, I will look at the point opposite. Look at the inner wing of the single crochet here, and look at the outer wing of the single crochet here. Do I dip in both points in the same way and take the stitch from opposite bottoms? And I slide it. We will combine it with the scroll method in this way. But be sure to look. We will try to match the same points on the single needle on the last handrail of the model and the single needle on the last handrail on the opposite piece, so that we can get a neat and smooth image. Let these sharp points coincide with each other. If you do not combine it properly, there may be differences in your bag form. It is absolutely necessary to make single crochets in the same place. Now sink to another point and look, I take my loop from the bottom and slide it. I'm sinking the single wings of the next single needle. Look, I'm careful not to skip single needles. I'm inserting the single wings, taking the crochet stitch from the bottom, removing the stitch from the points where I inserted it, and shifting it. I'll assemble my bag in this way, leaving enough mouth opening. Look, I left the mouth part open enough for our bag here. I left 3 triangles like this. For the part, I am planning to sew the snap right in the middle. Now, at this point, we have made the 2 pieces into a hole by making our scrolls. Look, I have left a small enough opening like this. You can break the thread here if you want, but I want to make a sliding point at the mouth. Now we continue our scrolls here. We're doing the next thing, and look, I'm moving on to a single piece with the single crochet that comes right here. Just like how it started here, I made my slips on the first of the quadruple handrail. Now look, I'm sinking into a single wing. Am I shifting here? I'm going to scroll for completeness. If you want, you can't do this. You can finish it as I said. Then you can place your stems in this edge section and sew the snap point. Now look, I'll make my scroll in this part. I'll share this transition with you. Then I'll pass this blood and finish it here. Look, I've reached the point where the 2 pieces meet. Look, I'm sinking into the space at the intersection point. I'm sinking at this point and shifting. Then I go to the opposite piece and look, I'm sinking and shifting on the outer wing of the single crochet, not the chained point there. Then we move to the other side. Look at each single crochet of the opposite piece. In this way, we sink and slide the outer single wings. Look, I want to show it like this. We'll make our scrolls like this and finish here. Then we will move on to knitting and joining the handle part. Look, we've come to the last part. We sink into the middle part of the scroll we made here and make the scroll point from here. I leave my rope a little longer and cut it at this point. I took the yarn out of the ball. Now at this point, look, I'm going to take the rope back in at the last part where I sank. We will take the inner part of the end of the rope and hide it inside. Now I want to show it at the snap point. I had a snap like this too. You can also make different closures. You can even make leather closures. I will place my snap right at the tip, But let's knit the handle part together first. Here I will use 4mm crochet hook while knitting my handle. I don't want it to be too tight. Now in this part, I leave my rope a little bit. I leave a long rope. After leaving my long rope here, I double my rope like this. Now I will describe my model to you with a small example. After folding my rope in half, I leave a long rope in this section to mount it on the bag. Now look, we will work with 2 ropes. We left a long rope here. We have yarn coming from the ball. Now in this part, look, I am taking the long thread I left on the tip of my hook. I pass it through this with the other rope. I wrap this yarn around my hook again. Look again, I wrap the yarn from the ball around my hook and pass it through these 2 loops. I wrap the other thread around the tip of my hook again. I wrap the yarn from the ball around the tip of my hook and pass it through these 2 loops. I leave a long rope at the beginning, which I then cut in the middle. Look like this. This is the point where we will mount the rope. Then we left a long rope. Look. We work with 2 ropes like this. We wrap the long thread we left around the head of our crochet hook. We fill the yarn from the ball on our fingers, and we close these 2 loops. We crochet the long string we left behind once. We close these 2 stitches by taking the yarn from the ball onto the end of our crochet hook. Look, now only the chain method prepares a handle like this. Look, I fill it once, I close it, I fill it, and I close it. I want to show the texture in this way. We get a handle with a chain. Since the bag is not a very big bag, a handle of this thickness is enough for this bag. If you do not want to make a knitted handle, you can use ready-made handles. Finally, after extending the handle enough, I cut some rope and direct it. Take it off the single needle and look at it like this. I adjust the 2 ends this way so that I can assemble my handle. I had prepared this before. Look, here is the handle I prepared before. Its measurement was 1 meter 20 centimeters long. You can make your handle as long as you want. I want us to assemble this handle together immediately. I'm going to remove the excess at the ends. Look, there are 2 ropes here. By the way, I will mount the snaps right on the edge. I will crochet again with the help of a thread from the end part. Look, I will pass through the gaps, remove my threads from the edge, and assemble my bag with the help of a crochet handle. We have completed our bag by sewing the snap and the handle. The handle of our bag measured 19 centimeters. Even if we use the same yarn and the same crochet number, your measurement may be a little less or a little more than the measurements I gave. This will vary depending on our knitting tightness and stretchiness. It is also worth mentioning this. It was a really enjoyable job. I hope you like it and try it too. I wish good luck to those who will do it. Don't forget to like our video, leave a comment and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye until we see you in the next video.